I just heard my XRP might explode in value any day now, and then possibly crash so hard that it'll make 2018 look like a picnic. It sounds like a wild prophecy, right? Well, buckle up, because I've got a personal crypto story that's equal parts exciting and terrifying, and you need to hear this. So, check this out, right? I'm an XRP holder, have been for many years. And when I saw an analyst claim that we could see a biblical rally for XRP by the end of this year, and yes, biblical is in truly epic, well, my heart did a backflip. Now, I'm talking XRP finally kind of blasting past its old highs, maybe hitting numbers that we only really joke about on Twitter. Now, for a moment, I'm daydreaming about finally affording that Lambo, or at least a little bit extra chicken in my burrito. But then I read the fine print. Right after this massive rally, he predicts a 90% crash. A 90% crash. Oof, right? Suddenly that daydream kind of felt like someone had yanked the carpet out from under me. Why would he even say that? Is this rally even still worth getting excited about? I had a lot of questions. And if you're an XRP believer like me, or even just a little bit crypto curious, well, you're going to want to stick around here because I'm getting into what's really going on, the pattern that's got everyone buzzing, what could it actually be, what could be different this time around, and most importantly, how I am planning to play this so I'm not left holding the bag. Now, trust me here, this is one ride that you don't want to miss. Okay, so let me take you back a bit before we actually get into the current craziness. Now, the year was 2017 and crypto was going absolutely bonkers, right? I had just gotten into XRP and it kind of felt like I'd stumbled onto a rocket ship. And by January of 2018, XRP had shot up to about $3.84, which was its all-time high. Now, I remember staring at my exchange screen on Bitget, one of the platforms that I use, and yeah, the link in the description is an affiliate link that supports the channel here at no extra cost to yourself. And I was thinking, this is it. I'm going to be rich. It was like winning the lottery, on paper at least. But you know what happened next? If you were around anyway, you would remember the crash. And if you weren't, oh boy, within weeks, that XRP rocket ran out of fuel and came hurtling back down to earth. I'm talking a 90% plus plunge from the top. My portfolio went from I can maybe quit my day job to I hope that the noodles are on sale, and it happened real quick. So it was brutal. It kind of felt like Wile Coyote had run off the cliff, looked down and saw that there was nothing but air. Then splat. But why am I bringing up this sob story? And because it actually turns out that this isn't just an unlucky tale. It actually is the pattern, and it might be about to happen again, hopefully with a twist, but I'll get to that in a moment. See, an analyst that I follow who goes by the name of JayDee, did actually some digging into XRP's history and technical charts. And what he found gave me deja vu. Basically, every time that a certain indicator flashed bullish on the monthly chart, XRP went on an absolute tear, and then it promptly crashed afterwards. Now, the indicator is something called the Stochastic RSI, or SRSI for short. And on the monthly time frame, it's interesting. Now, do you need to be a chart geek to get this? Well, I'm going to keep it quite simple for you guys. Right, Stochastic RSI, or Relative Strength Index, is the heat meter for momentum. And it tells you when an asset might be oversold or overbought in a given time frame. Now, a bullish cross on that monthly SRSI is kind of like the chart list whisperer kind of saying, yo, momentum is flipping upwards big time. This tends to actually precede a major price surge. Now, according to JayDee, this exact bullish cross happened before the insane 2017 rally that took XRP to the moon. Now, it happened again around mid-2024, right before XRP had a strong breakout by the end of the year. And guess what? It looks like we're on the cusp of another one of those crosses right now in 2025. So, if the current monthly candle closes confirming this, well, history might just repeat. And by repeat, I mean XRP could go on this wild run. At least, this is kind of what JayDee calls a biblical rally. His words, of course, not mine. Now, as an XRP holder, I'm hearing the phrase biblical rally kind of like makes my day, right? I'm picturing that vertical line on the chart, rocket ship emojis everywhere, my phone blowing up with congrats texts, from that one friend who teases me about my XRP holdings. Anyway, the hype, it would be unreal. So, what kind of rally are we actually talking about here? Well, let's put some numbers to this because I like specifics. Now, right now, as I speak, XRP is flirting with that $3 line. It touches the ceiling, gets knocked down, all that kind of usual stuff. Anyway, pretty much near the peak of its last cycle, right? Now, its market cap is currently around $178 billion, at the point of recording, which is roughly 4.6% of the entire crypto value or market's value. Now, in crypto jargon, we say XRP's dominance is about 4.6%, meaning that out of all of the money in crypto, 4 to 5% is in XRP. Now, JayDee thinks that during this Q4 rally, XRP's dominance could shoot up to nearly 12%. Now, that's a big chunk of the crypto pie. So if the whole pie, let's say the total crypto market cap stays the same size as now, that's around $3.9 trillion, and XRP grabs 12% of it, well, that implies an XRP price of roughly $8 a coin. That's about a 3x from today. $8 might not sound totally crazy. I mean, we've seen meme coins do a 10x in a week, right? But you have to understand, at $8, XRP's market cap would be nearly $500 billion, and that is huge. It would be like one of the most valuable crypto assets that are out there, probably only really behind Bitcoin and maybe Ethereum. Now, here is where it gets even spicier. If the entire crypto market grows bigger, which actually usually happens in a bull market, well, the pie actually gets larger, doesn't it? Let's say it goes to $10 trillion overall and XRP still manages 12% dominance. Well, we'd be looking at an XRP price in the ballpark of $20. And yes, that was 20 and it was not a typo, right? $20 per XRP. Now, I can practically hear some of you hollering in disbelief because that would be absolutely historic. For context, $20 is roughly 7 times higher than the current price. For those of us, holding a decent bag, that could be life-changing money, like buy your mum a house kind of money. And if it happens, of course, as crazy as it sounds, a $20 XRP, it is not impossible in the kind of frenzied bull scenario. It would put XRP's market cap in the trillions, which would definitely turn a lot of heads on Wall Street. All right, now, before we all start kind of planning retirement on a beach, here comes the kind of tough part, the crash. Because according to this analysis, after that blow off top, whether it's $8, $20 or wherever it actually peaks, the party might end in a kind of very ugly way. Now, JayDee kind of warns, or JayDee I should say, warns of a potential rug pull style crash, wiping out up to 90% of XRP's value from the peak. Now, that phrase rug pull is perfect because it actually captures the vibe, right? You're standing on this nice rug of profits and then yoink, it's gone, right? You're left flat on your back. And he basically says, don't be the last one buying at the top or you're going to be the exit liquidity for the smarter money. Harsh, but not entirely wrong, is it? Right? Everyone, or at least someone's always left holding the bag in every crypto top. And you don't want to be, at least I don't want it to be me, and I don't want it to be you either, right? Ultimately, this is a sum zero game, which means that we are looking to essentially just sell our coins to someone else at a higher price. Someone is going to be holding the coins that we sell. Now, this hits home for me. Remember my 2018 tale of woe, right? I was the guy who held almost all the way down. I didn't take enough profits because greed and hopium are a heck of a drug. I was like, it'll bounce back next week, I'm sure. Until, well, it didn't. Now, not for a long or very long time. Now, JayDee basically is saying that history could repeat. So you should probably learn from it, and I intend to. I am not about to let a 90% nosedive catch me unprepared again. Now, I know that this sounds both exhilarating and rather scary. You're probably thinking, what do I even do with this kind of information? And maybe, is this guy seriously telling me XRP will moon and then nuke my portfolio? So let me be super clear here on one thing, because it is important. Now, this might just shock you, but I'm not a financial advisor, and nothing in this video is financial advice. Cryptocurrencies are highly volatile, and you could lose all of the money that you invest. You should always do your own research and consult a qualified professional. After all, your investments are entirely your own responsibility, and you should know that nothing is ever guaranteed when it comes to investing. Neither I, this channel, nor YouTube are liable for any losses, and this video is for entertainment and educational purposes only. All right, we had to get that out of the way, but seriously, don't just do something because, some guy on YouTube, hi, that's me, or some analyst on Twitter that we don't really know, said so. Use this more as food for thought. Okay, let's get back to the story. And here's where I'm actually kind of leaning optimistic, despite all of this kind of crash talk. Now, not everyone believes that we're doomed to repeat the exact same 90% crash pattern. I mean, it's easy to see ghosts of 2018 in any chart, but the crypto world has changed a lot since then, right? One commentator on JayDee's post pointed out that Ripple, the company closely associated with XRP, is actually building real products and partnerships. They're not just twiddling their thumbs here, right? We're talking central bank deals, global payment solutions, actual adoption for XRP for cross-border transfers, potentially a whole CBDC platform thing, real utility. So in theory, real utility equals, more stable long-term value. Back in 2017, XRP's price was just purely speculative. Now, here is at least some fundamental kind of backbone that's underneath it all. Though, how much of that actually affects the price is, debatable. But it's better than nothing. And then there's something huge looming on the horizon. The possibility of multiple US Spot XRP ETF approvals. Actually, not just one approval, multiple proposals are in the pipeline here. So if you haven't heard, several big financial companies have filed to launch XRP exchange-traded funds, which would basically let people invest in XRP through the stock market, like how you would buy an ETF for gold or something similar. So it's a big deal because it opens up the floodgates for institutional investors and regular people with brokerage accounts to actually get exposure to XRP without messing around with crypto exchanges or wallets. Now, the US Securities and Exchange Commission recently delayed decisions on those XRP ETF applications. But here is the kicker. October 2025 is the final deadline for them to make a decision in many cases. Now we're talking late October, which is smack back in the middle, I should say, of Q4 2025. See how the timing is rather interesting here. See, if, and I mean it's a big if, but the SEC approves even just one of these XRP ETFs, it could be a bit of a game changer. Now, I'm not just speculating here. There's actually been chatter in crypto communities about this. One financial commentator, Zach Rector, gave his 2 cents. He thinks that, just the anticipation of an ETF could drive XRP buying. And if an ETF actually launches, we might initially see a quick sell the news dip because traders kind of bought the rumor, will actually take the profits. But then as new money starts flowing into the ETF, it could actually create a sustained buying pressure on XRP, potentially kicking off a major rally. In fact, Rector believes that those inflows could push XRP's price to that magical double-digit territory, like $10 and beyond, aligning a lot with what a lot of the XRP enthusiasts have been predicting anyway. And it might just be the beginning of a much broader crypto market, at least if the crypto market kind of keeps pumping, that is. So imagine the scenario then, right? It's late Q4 2025. And not only do we have this technical setup screaming big rally ahead, but we also get the fundamental catalyst like an ETF approval. It's kind of like lighting a kind of match in a room and full of fireworks, just boom, right? So we could see XRP shoot up crazier and faster than anything before. Honestly, right? Kind of get goosebumps just thinking about this. It would be validation for many of us who have held through the dark times. And if XRP truly went to, let's say, $10 or more, then I guarantee that it'll be all over mainstream news. Your auntie or co-worker who never really cared about crypto will suddenly be like, hey, what is this XRP thing that I keep hearing about? Should I buy some? Which ironically would be right about the worst possible time to actually buy, if history is any guide, that is. Now, I'm still realistic. Even with ETFs and Ripple's real-world adoption, markets can, and usually do get overheated. A blow-off top is called a blow-off top for a reason. It's unsustainable by nature. So, I'm not saying that there wouldn't be a crash or a major correction, but maybe it won't be a full 90% devastation like before. Or maybe it just crashes and bounces back quicker because now there are institutional players that are buying the dip. Or utility putting in a floor under the price. Now, a lot of things are different now, right? XRP has more clarity in the United States after that long legal overhang. And you have entities, communities, or entire communities, I should say, on platforms like our Discord server, shameless plug by the way, it's free and the link is in the description, where thousands of people are, sharing their research and their strategies, which wasn't a big thing in 2017. Information flows much faster now. People might react smarter or maybe not. We will see. Okay, so let me just get a little personal again here and talk about strategy, my strategy to be exact, because hearing all of this, I had a little kind of sit down with myself and said, if XRP really goes biblical on us, what is the move? Are we selling, holding, panicking, or partying? And the old me might have just screamed hodl no matter what, but the older, more wiser me is kind of taking a more balanced approach. My plan, and again, not financial advice, just what I'm going to be looking to do, is to take some profits on the way up. So if we hit crazy levels like $8, $10, $15, I'm probably going to skim a bit off the top at each of those milestones. Nothing too crazy, that I would regret if XRP somehow kept on roaring upwards, but enough that if, a nasty crash comes, then I've secured life-changing money, because one of my biggest regrets from 2018 was watching that millionaire on-paper status evaporate without having cashed out a dime. Not doing that again, trust me on that one. Now, I love XRP, I believe in the long-term potential, but I also believe that in not being financially wrecked, if you kind of get my drift. So this time, I'm getting practical. I've already kind of thought about where and how to take the profits. For example, I have some XRP on different exchanges. Not all my eggs are in one basket. I keep a portion on my Blofin crypto exchange, and yes, I'll be transparent. The link that is down below is an affiliate link, so if you do sign up and trade using it, then it actually helps support the channel here at no extra cost to yourself. So thank you in advance. Now, I also have some on Bitget, another platform that I trust. I also have an affiliate link in the description there as well. So why not have multiple exchanges, or why even bother with multiple exchanges? Well, it's because I remember in the past bull runs, some exchanges actually froze up or went down right when you needed them the most. So imagine just trying to log in to sell a little bit and the site's like, error, please try again later, while the price is plummeting. It's an absolute nightmare. So by spreading my holdings out, cold storage, Bitget, Blofin, other multiple exchanges, I actually increase the odds that I can actually execute my plan when the time comes. I even have a few limit sell orders quietly placed in advance, just in case XRP goes bananas overnight while I'm sleeping or something else. You got to plan for all scenarios, right? Now, I've also kind of got a bit of a mental plan for buying back should the crash indeed happen. Like, let's say XRP hits $10, I sell a portion and it crashes 80 to 90% to around $2. Well, I would be tempted to scoop up a bunch more for the profits, or with the profits that I actually took, right? Now, all because I believe in XRP at $3 or $5, right? But, you bet that I believe in $1 or $2 when nothing fundamentally has changed except all the hype dying down. So it's kind of like getting a second chance at an investment that you believe in at a huge discounted rate. Now, of course, that's easier said than done, right? When buying, at least buying when there's blood in the streets, as they say, and everyone is screaming that crypto is dead, is psychologically tough. But I'm mentally preparing myself for that one too. Okay, let's just zoom out for a second. Why does this pattern of kind of rally crash even happen? Well, it's kind of like human nature and market cycles, right? When prices start climbing or pumping, more and more people jump in on it. This is FOMO, the fear of missing out. It kicks in pretty hard. Now, eventually you run out of new buyers willing to pay such high prices. And the big players who kind of bought in earlier, or at least at lower prices, they start taking the profits. So once the selling starts, it's kind of like an avalanche, right? Price drops, latecomers panic sell, and when, which kind of causes even further drops, of course. It's kind of like a boom bust cycle as old as markets themselves, not just crypto. The trick itself here is, at least if there is one, is to not be the sucker that is buying at the absolute top, or the absolute, at least to not kind of panic, I should say, selling at the bottom. It sounds simple, but in the heat of the moment, it's anything but. Now, I do want to pause the video just here for a second and also clarify something. I've mentioned it a couple of times in this video, sum zero. Basically, all markets, whether that's the metal market, the stock market, the crypto market, they are all sum zero. Basically, you don't make money. Money's never made, right? It's not really created. It's only ever transferred between participants. This means that for you to make profit, someone else has to make a loss, right? You have to think about that and you have to understand that, because for some people, it's not ethical, right? Now, in all markets, and everyone's entering the market with this understanding, or they should enter the market with this understanding, right? That if you're buying what you believe to be a low price, your intention is to sell it to someone else at the top or the high price. So basically, it's like you're duping someone. And like I said, this is not just crypto related. This is all markets. That means if you buy Tesla, you're buying it with the idea of making money on it, which means you're going to be selling it to someone else with the intention of those guys potentially not making money on it. You want their money and you want to trade their money for your stocks. It's the same in crypto. You're going to buy some coins and you're going to trade it for someone else's money, right? But obviously, it's not necessarily for everyone. You have to get comfortable with the understanding here. And obviously, depending on the different types of projects, for XRP, I don't think this is a huge issue. But when you get to like meme coins, it's really obvious that it's very scammy and very, unethical. And that is a problem that we have with pretty much most markets, but it's really rife within the crypto space. So you have to be super, super careful. So do join the Discord. There's a whole host of resources down there, and we help protect you not only from these kind of projects that look to do rug pulls or how you can kind of navigate all of that mess, but also from the scammers that are also trying to depart you from your hard-earned money. So do join the Discord. There's a whole wealth of information down there. Now, I want you to imagine something with me here. It's December 2025, the holiday season. Snow may be falling, not here in Dubai, but you kind of get the idea. Then imagine maybe palm trees just swaying. Anyway, Bitcoin had its run, right? Ethereum did its thing, but now all eyes are on XRP. It starts maybe innocently. XRP creeps past the old high, $3.84, hits $5. News outlets, they pick up on it. XRP at new all-time high. Twitter is on fire with hashtag like XRP Army and XRP $10. Then almost like fate, those ETF approvals come through, maybe one, maybe several, who knows? And then suddenly XRP is everywhere. Grannies are asking their grandkids how to buy XRP in their retirement accounts. Exchanges are trending on app stores because everyone's downloading them to get a piece, right? The price? It's like $7, $9, $12. It's insane. You wake up each morning and the number is just higher, right? And I'm sitting there in that scenario, staring at my portfolio app. Heart is pounding like I just ran a marathon. Hands kind of literally shaking because I've never seen my balance this high. Now, this is the moment of truth for me. All my years of holding, all of the memes and the waiting, it is here. And in that moment, I have this angel and devil on my shoulders. The angel, is like, remember 2018, don't be greedy, sell some, secure your future. The devil's like, but what if it's actually the new normal and it's going to $50? You'll hate yourself if you sell now. And I just take a deep breath. I recall the plan that I made when I was sane and the price wasn't going parabolic. I start executing. Maybe I sell 10% of my stack at $10. It almost feels, scandalous. Like I'm the XRP guy. I don't sell XRP, but I just did it, right? I convert, some good old dollars or stable coins and boom. Money is in the bank. Well, digitally anyway. Price goes to $12. I sell a little bit more. It kind of twinges. But you know what? I feel relief because I remember the kind of splat after the 2017 party. And I know that I'm not going to be the deer in the headlights this time. So sure enough, And this is still our kind of imagined scenario, let's say around New Year's, XRP's peak, and, then starts falling. Maybe it got to, I don't know, $15 at the top, and now it's $10, then $8, and people are like, buy the dip, buy it, but it, just keeps on dipping. $5, $3, crash. The whole crypto market pulls back. Headlines flip from crypto mania to crypto crash, and it might play out over weeks or just days, but it does happen. And am I devastated? No. Because I won't lie, right? Watching an asset that you love plunge is never fun, but I stuck to my plan. I took the profits on the way up. I maybe even set some aside to buy back in the near term at the bottom. I hopped into the Discord server with the community, and we're all kind of sharing our war stories in real time. Who sold, who held, who is buying the dip. It's kind of like living through history, but with friends who actually get it. It's kind of beautiful in a kind of weird way. Now, real life might not play out exactly like my dream scenario and my little story here, but the point is to be prepared and to be level-headed. Now, I am super bullish on what is coming. An analyst doesn't kind of throw around the term like biblical kind of rally for nothing, right? The charts are, timing with the market cycles, the potential ETF catalysts, the fact that XRP is finally getting some of the spotlight that it deserves. All of it has me genuinely excited. We might finally get that massive breakout that we've all been waiting for, and I want to enjoy every second of it. But I also want to be the smart about it. The last thing I want for me and for you is to ride this giant wave and then get wiped out when it crashes all the way back to earth. It's like surfing, right? The ride is thrilling, but you've got to know when to jump off so that you don't get smashed into the reef. So here is my take-home message for you guys. Have a plan. If you believe that this rally is coming and it looks promising, though nothing is guaranteed, decide in advance, what you're going to be doing at critical moments, right? Will you take some profits at 2x or 3x? Will you hold no matter what happens because you're in it for the tech and the long-term vision? There's no one-size-fits-all answer here. Everyone's risk tolerance and goals are different, but not thinking about it is the worst thing, right? Because if you fail to plan, then you are planning to fail, as the saying goes. And I don't want to see people who held through a bear market only to kind of round trip their gains and end up with nothing. I've seen it, I've done it, and it is not fun. Also, you should keep an eye on those late October 2025 events. The SEC's decisions on those XRP ETFs, those could drastically affect the market sentiment. So if an XRP ETF is approved, well, I would not be surprised to see a short-term hype pump and a subsequent dip from profit taking. But longer term, I think it could mean a lot more sustained capital inflows, which bodes well for XRP's price stability. In plain English, ETF means big money or more big money potentially coming in regularly, which might actually keep XRP from crashing as low as it has done historically. Now that's bullish hope anyway. Now, one more thing here. Remember that investing, especially in crypto, is as much about a psychological game as it is about the financial one. The swings that we're talking about can mess with your head. I've had nights where I couldn't sleep because XRP was pumping so hard, adrenaline on full blast. And I've had days where seeing the price deep in the red made me want to curl into a ball. Though, through it all, being part of a community has really helped. And that is why I hang out in our free Discord. The link is in the description. And people sharing roller coasters with others who understand it makes it much easier to actually handle. So if you're not in there yet, consider this an invite. You've got a good thing going. We've got a good thing going, I should say. And, we'd actually love to hear what you think about the whole thing. And, this whole kind of rally then crash idea. Some people in there think that JayDee is just too pessimistic. Some think that he's actually spot on. Healthy debate, lots of memes, and a great info. So come and join us, seriously. At the end of the bull run, I want us all to come out of this in good shape. I want some of us, heck, all of us, to maybe even fulfill a dream or two thanks to this rally. Whether that's paying off debts, buying something special, or even funding a new project. And I also kind of want us to kind of stick around after all of the hype, because I do believe XRP and crypto in general are here to stay. Hype cycles are, be damned and all that, but the technology, the adoption will continue moving forwards, even if prices zigzag like crazy. So there you have it. My personal XRP adventure that's possibly about to get a whole lot more interesting. A huge rally that might be around the corner, one that could make this last, or at least the last bull run, look like a small little kind of run, but also comes with the potential gut-wrenching drop. I'm excited, I'm nervous, and I'm ready. The best part is that this story is still being written, and we've got to at least get to be the characters, or we get to be the characters in it in real time. How cool is that? So if you enjoy riding this XRP roller coaster with me, make sure to smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I will catch you all in the next one.